So, Mark, what exactly is the problem that you guys are solving?
Sure. Okay. Matt, 173,000 terawatts of solar energy reach the Earth continuously. Every hour, we receive more solar energy than the entire world consumes in an entire year, okay, in all forms of energy. And since 2019, we've installed enough PV panels to go around the Earth 25 times a year. So solar power is here to stay. The problem, Matt, is that PV panels are not very effective at converting solar energy into electric power. In fact, they're only about 20% effective at converting sunlight into electricity. And to make that worse, panels heat up during the daytime, and that 20% drops down to about 15% as they get hot. So Icarus set out to cool the panels and capture the heat to make it more useful.
Fantastic. So, what is the net zero scenario here?
Sure. So net zero by 2030, in order to meet the net zero emissions standard by 2030, we need to increase that panel deployment of 25 times per year, like 25% a year. So we're not installing enough panels as it is. We install 70,000 panels per hour, and that's not enough. In order to meet the net zero emission standard by 2030, we're going to have to install enough panels to go around the Earth another 325 times in the next 8 years. That's just mind-boggling. Think of the waste and disposal issues that's going to create.
Yeah, it's huge. And in terms of the daily power loss, what that you touched on this earlier, but explain why solar panels lose their power production capability as the day moves on from morning to evening.
Sure. So panels can heat up to 165 degrees Fahrenheit with no problem at all. In the Sun Belt, they may reach 170 degrees Fahrenheit. For every degree Celsius that a panel heats up, it can lose almost 0.5% of efficiency, which results in power output. So that the panel power performance really degrades as they heat up every single day. In addition to that, Matt, the heat degrades the lifetime of those panels, and it affects the lifetime performance.
Interesting. And when it comes to power output and demand, why is it out of balance? Walk us through that. And is there a sweet spot in terms of where this problem occurs in the day?
Absolutely. So obviously, the peak sun time is around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, or in that, noon to 4 p.m. or something, depending on where you are and what time of year it is. The problem with that is, in many places, like here in California, peak demand time doesn't begin to 4 or 5 p.m. in the afternoon, and it extends until 9 p.m., long after sunset. So as the solar production has completely dropped off, our peak demand is just beginning, and our peak demand rates come into play at that time.
So this is almost like a energy crunch every single day.
Every single day, Matt. Here in California, it's particularly bad because of that dichotomy with the peak demand being after sunset.
Got it. And when it comes to traditional systems consuming power output while charging, how is what you've done different and or resolving this issue?
Great point, Matt. I can see that you've done a little bit of your homework. So traditional systems use batteries today, right? And batteries are an effective tool at storing energy from the PV panels in the daytime, so you can have power at night or when you need it the most, right? The problem is that batteries consume that daytime PV power output so you can have that power later. Our system enhances the daytime power output because we're cooling the panels while we're saving the thermal energy. So it's a big difference there, Matt. If you think about it, they're consuming the daytime output to charge. We are enhancing that daytime output while we're charging our thermal battery.
So, Mark, thank you so much for painting a very clear picture of the problem here. There's an energy crunch in the day. Traditional systems are ineffective. But, Mark, what is the market opportunity here that you guys are going after?
Matt, it's absolutely huge. In the U.S. alone, the SAM is over $13 billion. That's the commercial and industrial sector for solar PV panels, which is our market. We project our share of that market at over $400 million in the US alone, and that's on new installations only, Matt. We can also retrofit existing panels, existing arrays that have been installed for the last 10 years, far multiplying that 400 million number into a much greater figure.